The main event, it's the Shoe Shot.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that special episode of the Shoe Shine Thursday night. Let's pick a parlay. It's your boy Dave in the 702. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Man, me personally, dog, since Monday, I've been sick it's been all messed up. I think I cracked a rib from coughing so hard, Drew. I'm not even, it hurts to laugh even.
You separated your rib. That's what happened. You didn't crack it, you separated it.
Something's going on. And the thing is, I went and saw my doc on Tuesday. It happened to you too?
I tell you the truth. I separated my rib sneezing. I sneezed like hard as shit one time and it separated my rib. It hurts for like 3 or 4 days.
It freaking hurts so bad. Shout out to everybody joining us in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button as you come in. Let me just make sure everything is working on my YouTube. Real quick, I'm not seeing comments for some reason.
I didn't think anybody commented.
Let's get the show cracking.
There you go.
All right. I'll take it. Shout out everybody. Shout out Fonzie. Shout out V. Appreciate you. Is that V as in Veronica? She says, let me see. I see a little chayo on. So we need, we've been talking about this, Drew. We need a female co-host. So Veronica, you seem to know so much about the sport. We'd be glad to have you on the show. Shout out to Sonteo Media, the 619. Carlos M is in the building. Paul M, good to see you, my good friend Paul. Shout out to everybody joining us. I just want to let you guys know my voice don't sound right. My voice don't sound right, and I don't have the phone line, the typical phone line. But let me see if anybody wants to join us today as a third co-host. Let me drop my my link here.
Hey, we don't need a permanent co-host. Me and you are the best duo in the YouTube atmosphere that nobody knows about, Willie.
Oh yeah, Well, that's a given, Drew. But a female guest co-host will bring in the views, whether we agree.
I gotta say something. Now you're faking what Keyshawn is, and I really thought that we got over this, Dave.
Oh man, yeah. Shout out to Keyshawn again. By the way, speaking of Keyshawn, before we get into all the news, obviously we're on the cusp of the biggest boxing card of the year. For some of us on the West Coast, it means waking up at 8 a.m. to get started. But I did see something very funny. The Andy Cruz, the gold medalist, his nemesis, posted something on IG and X, and I thought it was pretty funny, Drew. I've got so many things to share that. Let me just find this.
You don't ever get jealous, Fonzie. People get jealous of Drew. You gotta look at it like that, Fonzie. People get jealous of me. I'm the whole fucking show at the end of the fucking day. Remember that.
We got one vote for bring back Lukey, Big Dog Lukey. Shout out to Lukey. Andy Cruz. Let me just read this. Andy Cruz.
You're fucking banned for the night. Somebody time out Chicano for the night. He's done.
Hello, Crystal. Andy Cruz says, I'm so proud of my son. In fact, I knew he was going to win, but at the end of the day, you know that will be your turn to give me that belt sooner rather than later. So run while you can, son. And there you see little baby Keyshawn and Andy Cruz. I like Andy Cruz, what he's saying. You know, it's important to be on top of your social media game. This is how you get fights. And I'm going to talk about how it did not, and it has not been working for he's not technically a friend of the show, but Fonzie and I have become friends with his mama. I'm going to talk about all the problems Floyd Schofield Jr. got himself into this week. In my opinion, is because his dad is way too involved in his career and all the breaking news, man, that came about this Riyadh season, the last crescendo. Drew, did you watch Pro Box yesterday? Shout out, speaking of Lukey boxing and boxing scene. Did anybody here watch Pro Box, the return of Stockton, California? Gabe Flores was one of the youngest people signed to Top Rank, got dropped by Top Rank after losing, but he came back on Pro Box on Wednesday night at the Chicken Ranch Casino, which is like 2 hours from Stockton. It's near Yosemite, Drew. He won the fight. Look, congratulations for winning the fight. He drops the guy twice in the first round. Gabe Flores, Stockton, California's very own, 209. Shout out to everyone in 209. He drops the Mexican guy Arellano, who happens to train with Xander Zayas' trainer in Florida. Arellano gets dropped in the round 1 and round 10. But to many people watching the fight online on YouTube, they pretty much think that he lost every round in between 2 and 9. I had him winning maybe 3 rounds, including the 2 knockdowns. And 2 judges gave him like 9 round. I don't know, some crazy dude. The scorecards were just bonkers, but he did drop the guy twice, Drew. And this is for a guy that a lot of people said didn't have any power in his Top Rank days. So what do you make of that while I cough?
I know he's dropping guys. I didn't even watch it, to be honest. Like, I don't watch these Pro Box cards, man.
Oh, come on now. Anybody watch the Pro Box stars? What does it mean for him? A lot of fighters coming off of Pro Box are getting incredible opportunities. Angelo Leo of Las Vegas, who was a former champion, dropped by PBC, ended up fighting Elvinado Lopez coming off a big Pro Box win and wins the world title again. Excuse me. I saw Nonito Donaire at the David Benavidez public workouts about 3 weeks now, which is probably when I developed. I think I got sick probably going back a couple weeks at that fight. He said, Nonito Donaire said that, watch out, Gabe Flores is going to be the next world champion out of the Bay Area. Could this be the stepping stone? I'm not too sure, guys. To be honest, I was impressed he was able to drop a guy twice in flash knockdowns. That was kind of impressive considering Gabe Flores didn't show any power in his career at Top Rank, and now he's 24. Is he getting stronger? Possibly, but he got outboxed by, a club fighter. I don't know. He's a tough guy. He's a tough out. Shout out to Arellano and shout out to everybody that watches Pro Box. Oh, I'm having a rough time, guys. All right, let's talk some boxing. Shout out Wiley Coyote, Sonteo. I see Rhonda. Rhonda, I got that nasty. Shout out to Crystal Nunez, Fonzie 619, Big Spooky in the building. All right, the big news, Drew. We're talking about Floyd Schofield. Again, if you guys didn't know, somehow in the past year, attending the fights in Las Vegas, both Fonzie was at those fights, but I got the pleasure to sit next to her twice. And we've all become friends on Instagram. And in fact, we're supposed to all hang out the next time her son fights in Las Vegas. She says she wants to party. She said, Drew, you might want to come down here. She's pretty wild, man. She said she wants to party. Nonetheless, I don't think she's with Floyd's father. And Floyd's father's been running, Floyd Kid Austin, has been running his social media accounts, Drew, including the Twitter account, the X account, and the Instagram account. Now, Floyd Kid Austin, he ain't a big talker, but his dad, pretending to be his son, has gotten him into a lot of shit on social media. You even got, what's his name? True. You got him on. Did you see he made fun of his dad? He put on the dreadlocks this week. That shit was hilarious. You got every YouTuber making fun of Floyd Kid Austin's father. As well as, there was all kinds of wild, crazy allegations. The dad was saying that people were slashing all the tires on the rental cars. Then there was an allegation about poisoning. There was a massage person that supposedly Shakur Stevenson sent over there with some massage cream, and the massage cream had poison in it. what did he not accuse? I mean, there was so much shit. And then Tuesday of this week, he does the workout or he does an interview. He looks good. And come Wednesday morning, yeah, Sonteo, that's Floyd's mom in that pic. Let me show it to you guys again. That's his mom. I got to sit with her. I sat right down next to her with the a fight at the Cosmopolitan because they fucked up the seats. They oversold the tickets. The ushers sat me next to the Zone broadcast team, and I was sitting right next to his mom when he fought in that fight. I think that fight ended in a disqualification. And then we saw Fonzie and I sat next to her when he fought against Giron recently. And that's the fight that was most recent in Las Vegas. But anyways, if you guys don't know, come Wednesday morning, this is circulating. And because of all the stuff the dad had said, Drew, it appeared like a cry wolf situation and nobody could take this fucking father seriously. They're like, oh my God, this is the biggest duck move in the history of boxing. You begged for an opportunity for a world title. Oscar De La Hoya did not even want you to fight him. He called you a fucking prospect. He said, well, if you want the fight, I'll get you the fight. Fine, sure. You want the fight? We'll get you the fight. And this is exactly what happens, okay? He ends up in the hospital come Wednesday morning. And people were doubting it was true. People were doubting his illness. What illness? And then today happened. The IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Dubois, also comes down with some weird shit. Probably got the same flu. What's going around? What's going around in Saudi Arabia, Drew? What is it? Food poisoning?
Probably Saudi COVID.
Oh, man. Oh, Fonzie says, I sent his mom a message telling her I hope Floyd gets better, and she got back thanking me. Yeah, exactly. They're not faking the funk. There's some going around. It's obviously, is it a Saudi COVID? Is it a Saudi flu? Is it a Saudi norovirus? You know, norovirus is that shit people get on cruise vacations when it's like everybody's touching the same food or it's pretty nasty. Nonetheless, obviously, if you get sick like that, and he did go get checked out, the British Boxing Board of Control, which is the governing body for in Saudi Arabia, they're governing these fights, said fights off. Not Floyd, the British Boxing Board of Control. So there was the first sign that there was maybe something to this. Whatever the illness is, I don't know what it is. The fight's off. He can't make weight. You know, the 3 or 4 days before the fight, you have to concentrate on losing weight. And if you got nasty ass diarrhea or a foodborne illness or a COVID, you're not going to make weight. You know, you're just going to get your ass beat on Saturday. So they pulled the fight. And again, today, Daniel Dubois, the big breaking news, IBF world champion, the one title Usyk doesn't have, he pulls out of the fight. Is he ducking? No, he's sick too. What do you guys think about this? What Rhonda says, drink some tea with honey. It's exactly what I'm doing. That's not coffee. But let's just speculate really quickly, Drew. Did you think this was at first a potential duck move by Schofield when you found out he was sick?
I thought it was somewhat because his dad's really fucking up his career. I'm sorry, but it is. His dad's talking too much trash. Worry about training your son. Worry about getting your son ready instead of trying to clout chase or somebody. Like, really, it's really, you really, yeah, he's sick, but you really made an ass out of yourself during the whole time. And I think they're going to look at this situation next time a big fight comes up and they're trying to get him a big fight.
If you were reading the comments on social media, Instagram and X, everybody was coming after Team Schofield thinking they're ducks, coming after the father, saying you fucked up the bag. You probably ruined the biggest career payday and a title opportunity against Shakur Stevenson. And that you're probably going to ruin a big fight opportunity going forward in your career because you ducked. But it turns out that Oscar De La Hoya did not do clapback Thursday today. He wanted to stay quiet today. Oscar had no clapback. Turns out he's ill. We don't know exactly what it is, but you know, they called it off. Thankfully, let's talk about the guy who's going to get the opportunity of a lifetime, guys. Unknown to most American fight fans, Meet the electrician turned boxer set to fight Stevenson. Drew, a blue-collar, full-time electrician club fighter who somehow beat a very highly rated UK 135-pound fighter in Mark Chamberlain. This guy is going to be stepping in. He was ready to fight in April. He is ranked by the WBC in the top 15, making him eligible for the WBC title should he pull off the unthinkable. Drew, I cannot think of the last time that a part-time boxer, blue-collar guy, has gotten an opportunity this big. Since I'm going to take you way back, I was thinking about it today. You guys remember the TV show The Contender? And there was the Italian guy from Rhode Island.
Peter Manfredo.
Peter Manfredo, a full-time electrician, and I believe he worked at he worked as an electrician at their local stadium. You know, he would put up the stages and whatnot. That's the last time I remember when Peter Manfredo was awarded the opportunity to go at the last minute to fight Calzaghe, the incredible Calzaghe. He takes the opportunity, goes to the UK, and gets smoked in just 4 rounds. But man, he went from the TV show The Contender, full-time electrician, to a world title opportunity on the biggest stage against Joe Calzaghe, a future Hall of Famer. Man, how do you turn that opportunity down? And by the way, do you give this guy any chance of being competitive?
Got hand speed, but he's gonna have to really be able to crack and be able to get him. But I don't think Shakur is gonna really engage. We're gonna get one of those boring Shakur Stevenson fights, and now you heard the news that you heard rumors that he hasn't even finished VADA, and that's really suspicious that he hasn't finished his VADA. If it's true, so
Shakur is a snack fighter, and if you believe in all the things people say on the internet, they say that VADA and Victor Conte and snack are intertwined like this, and it is somewhat dubious that he hasn't, or if it's true that he hasn't completed the testing. But as far as I know, the WBC requires all champions and anyone ranked in the top 15 to be subjected to randomized testing year-round. I probably don't think anything will come of that issue. Let's quickly look at DraftKings and what the odds are for that fight, specifically for that fight. And who knows? This fight might be good because this kid's got nothing to lose, and he knows, this UK fighter knows he has nothing to lose, and the only thing that's going to come about it is exposure. He's going to get to fight on the biggest fight stage of his career, win, lose, or draw. If he can just get some really good action and maybe clock him once or twice. Let me quickly look at these odds, where they are. Fonzie619 says, that's how Mickey Ward got discovered fighting a guy from TJ who was supposed to come up at the last minute, and he beat him. Exactly. I mean, that would be an incredible story if this guy could beat him. Why were my odds, man? Drew, talk about this parlay, because you made a parlay before all. I'm like, wow, Drew already bet money. And I was thinking the minute I heard first that Floyd Schofield fight was off, and then today that the heavyweight fight is off. What happened to your parlay?
Went down from potentially $1,000 to $209.
Let me reset this. All right. Shakur Stevenson versus Josh Padley. Shakur Stevenson is a negative 4,000 favorite. You've got to bet $4,000 to make $100 fucking bucks. Excuse my language. Josh Padley is a plus 1,400. Wow. Does anybody think you would you put $100 on Padley for 1,400? That is a long shot. But I'm rooting for the guy just to look good, man. I'm looking to see Shakur Stevenson get clocked. On the subject of Shakur running, Drew, did you see the videos that came out with Shakur's hands? Everybody, guys, that he did a strength hand test. His knuckles, his hands are bad shape. All his knuckles seem to have been broken, surgically repaired. They're a hot mess. He squeezed the grip tests that everybody did, including Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn ranked pretty damn high on the strength test. Shakur was at the very bottom of the heap in hand strength on his hands. Like they said that there's girls in high school that can squeeze that thing harder than Shakur. I don't think Shakur wants to hit anybody that hard with his hands, Drew. I think he's probably thinking most of the time, I'm going to bust my hand up. Like, remember, Paulie Malignaggi had a lot of hand issues. A lot of fighters have had hand issues. I think he wants to hit as least as possible, as little as possible.
Yeah, I don't know how this could go. I think it might be a snoozer. I might get a pillow, and I might be like this.
Another snoozer. Hopefully it's not going to be as bad. Obviously, it's not the most exciting fight on the card. But anyways, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button so that more people share it. Let's talk about the other fight. The news fell today. This is the IBF champion of the world. He has the one belt. Usyk doesn't. He also got mysteriously ill today. And I think he even worked out yesterday. And all of a sudden today, they say he can't fight. That fight is off. And Joseph Parker is a former world champion, Drew, and I think he got the fucking raw end of the deal because in comes Martin Bakole, the beast that knocked out Baby Anderson, and he said, I'm ready to go. And I guess today they told him on stage, they're like, hey, we got you a replacement fighter, and here it is. It's Bakole, a nightmare. To me, Bakole reminds me of George Foreman. Boy, did he put an ass whooping on Jared Anderson, didn't he?
Yeah. Lana's telling us about her talents that she may put on her next ad online. I got strong hands.
Oh, yeah. Guys, if you go back and watch that fight in Los Angeles when Bakole, Jared Anderson was not ready for the likes of the monstrous Bakole. And Bakole actually, I think, was a very underrated fighter. And now this gets really interesting. Let's look at the odds. And there's another good heavyweight fight. Do they have the odds for Bakole yet? How do they not have it here? Drew, do you have any odds for that one?
Not offhand.
Wow, I don't see it on DraftKings. I'm going to call an upset. I'm calling an upset here. I like the way Parker's been fighting lately. You know, he is a former champion. He's a tough guy to fight. But I think Bakole is just hitting his stride, and he's just a monstrous, devastating puncher. I think he's going to pull off an upset. Parker is not been training to fight the guy, and I think that's going to work in favor of Bakole.
Yeah, but you know what? I think Bakole and Dubois is somewhat alike. I think that would be no problem. I think Parker wins the fight.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be the first place we disagree on this one. And we'll let you guys know on Monday how Drew and I do. We got 7 fights to cover. Again, Daniel Dubois is out. He is the IBF champion. Bakole versus Parker. It is in this heavyweight battle. I cannot find the DraftKings odds. I don't know if they just haven't been updated. It's pretty wild. Rhonda says, hello, Drew. Let's go on to the next. Speaking of heavyweight fights, we had somebody on here on Monday who was new to the show, and they kept talking about Caballal. Agit Caballal is on a pretty impressive win streak, coming off of some pretty impressive knockouts, and he is going to get the chance to fight Big Bang Zhang, who likes to tell fighters that he's going to bang you. I know, pause, right? He says, I'm going to bang you. No diddy, he said.
Where's the women at in the chat? Yeah, Zhang told him he's going to bang them.
Zalil Zhang, almost 42 years old against a young Agit Caballal. Zalil Zhang is the underdog?
Yeah.
How's he the underdog? I know this person on Monday was adamant we should be talking about Agit Caballal. Agit Caballal does have some impressive knockouts. I think this fight should be a lot closer. Actually, negative 165 favor for Agit Caballal. This one is a toss-up to me, Drew. What I do like is that Zalil Zhang, when he doesn't fade, he hits you with that left hand, that straight left hand. I think he could drop Agit Caballal more likely than it's going to be the other way around. I haven't seen Agit Caballal fight anyone as large as Zalil Zhang. I'm picking Zalil Zhang in this one.
I'm picking Agit Caballal.
I get well. Okay. All right, man. We're going to also be at odds with that one. All right. I'm picking Zalil Big Bang Zhang, but he is approaching 42 years old, and that is kind of when heavyweights start to kind of fall off here.
Big Bang.
All right, this is obviously, where's all my Latinos at? Let me know if you guys are still in here. The most exciting fight of the night, 154-pound showdown. The former 154-pound champion that lost his title to Terrence Crawford. Drew, Vicious Victor Ortiz. I got the wrong Virgil Ortiz. And he's not vicious. Virgil Ortiz. Sorry, you guys. Sorry to confuse the two. Virgil Ortiz Jr., toughest opponent of his career, in my opinion. Obviously, this has got to be the toughest opponent in his career. The guy that gave Terrence Crawford hell, Drew. I am very interested to know your take on this one because Virgil Ortiz was involved in the best fight I've ever seen in Las Vegas against Bohacek, another Eastern European fighter. He got the nod. Controversial. You say he got a gift decision, but I don't think Bohacek and Madrimov have the same fighting style. Madrimov is an exceptional athlete, but I think they do things different. Bohacek is extremely high volume output fighter, and Bohacek's chin is second to none in that division of 154 pounds. Bohacek, he's got a granite chin, man. There's no way. The biggest puncher in Ortiz could not drop Bohacek. In fact, it was Bohacek that dropped him twice. Drew, does Madrimov throw enough punches to do the same thing Bohacek did and drop Virgil Ortiz?
I think the thing about this difference with this, that Madramov's going to have angles. He's a better boxer than Bohacek, and I think he's good. He's going to be able to land punches on Virgil. Virgil's defense is very suspect. He got exposed against Bohacek. And this is why I'm picking Israel Madrimov by with a ninth round stoppage.
Ninth round stoppage, a TKO, guys. Woof. Fonzie, if you missed it, we are asking people what in the chat, Ortiz Jr. or Madrimov. Let's quickly go to DraftKings. They absolutely have this up on DraftKings. They got Virgil Ortiz, a negative 125 favorite. Israel Madrimov is a plus 100. So you will win $100 for $100. What? That's not much. You got to bet $125 to win $100 on Virgil Ortiz. Of course, they've got probably some props. My gut feeling is that Virgil Ortiz is going to win this one, Drew. I seen that Madrimov kind of has stamina issues. He wasn't able to close the show against. I thought he came so close to beating Terrence Crawford, but he did not have that extra gear. And I've seen Virgil Ortiz, when needed, have that extra gear. And I'll tell you when he got flash knockdown against Bohacek, he actually, in my opinion, won that round, came back to win that round. But that's not how you score fights. He still got dropped in that round. I've seen Virgil Ortiz when he needs to turn it up to that next gear that I just did not see that in Madrimov. The urgency in a very close fight against Terrence Crawford. I thought had he had that second gear, that hidden gear, that he could have got the win against Terrence Crawford. Carlos M says, nah, that was a win for Ortiz in my opinion. I do have Ortiz winning this fight. Fonzie says Ortiz all the way by UD. So it sounds like three of these fights, Drew, were in disagreement. That's what's so good about this card is that a lot of these fight cards are going to be extremely, extremely competitive. Any more thoughts on this fight, Drew? Madrimov, Ortiz?
I really think Madrimov will solidify himself as the second best fighter at 154.
Okay. Second to Terrence Crawford or?
Yeah, to second Terrence Crawford.
All right. Very well. That's what's so great about that division, guys, is that any of these guys, in my opinion, like at one time, people were saying Tim Tszyu was the best fighter at 154. And within a span of a year, he's at the bottom of the pack. Just in a span of a year. I think at any given time, any one of these guys could become the next big thing in the division or potentially win a title. Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz. Drew, Carlos Adames did not want to sign a fight with that other top-rank Ukrainian fighter. Was Ukrainian or Russian?
Janibek, Kazakhstan,
Janibek. Carlos Adames would not fight him. He is the champion. Could we see a brand new middleweight champion of the world this weekend? Hamza Shiraz, the UK fighter. Carlos Adames is the underdog. 235 plus 235. Hamza Shiraz is a beast. And so tall, Drew. I mean, to me, you got Fundora, you got Hamza Shiraz, you got Diego Pacheco. These are all guys that are way too tall for their weight classes. I mean, they could literally be fighting at the next weight class. Hamza Shiraz can be vulnerable. In the Amma Williams fight early on, he looked a little bit vulnerable. But I got Hamza Shiraz potentially stopping Carlos Adames.
I'm picking Shiraz by KO in round number 7.
Let me see if there is anything on that. KO. Carlos Adames by KO is a plus 380. Hamza Shiraz by KO, TKO, disqualification is a plus 110. Hamza Shiraz by decision is a plus 240. Fonzie says 619. Fundora is a joke. Oh,
That's
man.
what she said.
Fundora is the nicest guy ever, man. You just got to meet the guy. I think you met his sister. Fonzie met his sister. If I'm correct.
He's right. His manager's a joke.
I'm not happy about it, man. I'm not happy about it. By the way, guys, March. Fundora is back.
Are you fucking serious, Fonzie? You just retracted your message? You retracted that message because Dave said he's a nice guy?
Well, he is a nice guy. That's him and his sister are really nice. But this fight is a joke.
Fonzie tonight.
Even if I get KO'd by his sister, Fundora versus Booker is a joke. I'm very disappointed in this fight. I don't think the Ramos Jr. versus Salgado fight is very. These are clear wins for Fundora and Ramos Jr. I'm excited that they're coming back to Las Vegas to fight this quickly, particularly Ramos Jr. and Fundora. But this is not a good title defense for the unified 154-pound champion. You got Xander Zayas screaming, "I'm ready to fight you, Fundora." His manager, I don't know if Samson's going to let Xander Zayas anywhere near Fundora, and he is the mandatory. But at some point, Sebastian Fundora does need to tell his manager, "This is the motherfucker I want to fight. Hey, this is who I want to fight. Don't be giving me Booker. I want to fight this guy, and I want to fight that guy, and I want to fight Virgil Ortiz, and I want to fight Xander Zayas, and I want to fight Jesus." I mean, let's get guys who are a little bit ranked. I want to fight Terrence Crawford. Let me hear Fundora say, "I want to fight Terrence Crawford."
He also wants to hear him say, "I want to fight Joey Spencer."
Joey Spencer. I think Joey Spencer is going to be going to Australia. Anyways, that fight, let's look at those odds again. I just gave them to you. Carlos Adames. I'm going Hamza Shiraz. That one, Drew and I both agree on that one. Who else is on this card, Drew? Let me see. Who have we not gone over? Obviously, the main event. We can talk about the main event. Let's look quickly at the main event. The first fight did not live up to the expectations that I thought it was going to be. This is the main event, guys. Dimitri Bivol versus Beterbiev to the rematch. The first one was so close. When I say it didn't live up to the expectations, it was because, well, the fight was kind of dull. It didn't have as much output or offense that we expected. Let's look at these ridiculous CompuBox numbers from the first fight. 4 punches landed for Beterbiev in round 1 to Dimitri Bivol's 14. 6 in number 2. Things got a little bit more heated in round 3 for Beterbiev, landing 13. Only 10 punches landed in round 4. A whopping 7 punches landed by Beterbiev in round 5. 6, he landed 9. Things get better in round 7. He landed 17. These are pretty pathetic punches landed. This is not the kind of Mexican, this is not a Mexican showdown here. Even in the very last round, in the 12th round, Beterbiev did outpoint him 15-14. The judges' scorecards, only one scorecard came in as a draw. And 2 judges, Glenn Feldman, had it 115-113. And Powell Cardini had it 116-112. There was even accusations that this was a Muslim bias for Beterbiev, I believe. I think I heard some rumors like that. 116-112. I did not have Beterbiev winning 8-4. I actually had Bivol winning that fight 7-5. What about you, Drew?
I had him winning 8-4. Bivol.
You had 8-4 Bivol?
Yeah, I had 8
okay.
Bivol. I look at it like this. I thought he was more of he was. It was a lot more like looking like he was actually landing more in fights. He was actually being more of the boxer and everything. And you got moments with Beterbiev, but the thing about it is, I thought Bivol actually took some, like, he won majority of the close rounds.
I agree with you. And because of that, including, I saw the comment about the Saudis, but including Mr. Turki Al-Sheikh himself told Dimitri Bivol, I think you won that fight. If I was stand corrected, he said, I think you won that fight. And he wanted an immediate rematch, and we're getting the immediate rematch. He senses the sense of urgency, and he realizes that he's going to have to fight with much, much more aggression in this fight. And because of that, I'm going with Dimitri Bivol actually winning this fight this time. Artur Beterbiev is the favorite. I think his knee, I feel like Artur Beterbiev, that knee that he had recently surgically repaired, I think it's only a matter of time. He's 40 years old now. I think Dimitri Bivol's legs are way better. Dimitri Bivol is the underdog, 100 plus 105. Put it in the chat, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Does Dimitri Bivol walk away with, again, his second loss of his career? I don't see it. How about you, Drew?
I have Dimitri Bivol winning by unanimous decision. I think Bivol is actually going to get the nod, and I think he's going to be more aggressive in this fight. I think the output's going to be more there, and I think he's going to move around more and be able to use his jab, because I think in some of those rounds he did not execute with the jab, and that's the one thing about Bivol. He has to have a steady jab going on. And that's the main part of his offense: steady jab and then follow up with a hook. And I think he keeps following up with that. And he also has to not stop going head hunting all the time. Take out the other guy a little bit. Get the air tank out and go to the body a little bit for the later rounds to have the advantage and everything. I think don't get on the ropes too much for the puncher to give you attack on you, and just keep moving. If you keep moving and anything, nail punches, you're a better fighter on your back foot than he is on his back foot. So
I hear you.
That's the key.
I feel you on that one. You know what? Speaking of light heavyweights, this one is very early. Might be one of the very first matches on this one. But UK stars Joshua Buatsi. I really like him, former Olympian, versus Caleb Smith. If you guys remember Caleb Smith, of course you guys know Caleb Smith, the guy Canelo Alvarez beat. He's a 6'3" giant super middleweight who moved up to light heavyweight. Drew, Canelo hit him so hard in the bicep that he tore the bicep of Caleb Smith. Who can forget that? He dominated the monster in Caleb Smith. This is why people are like perplexed. Like Canelo beat Kovalev. He beat Caleb Smith, who's a legitimate super heavy light. Excuse me. I'm all messed up tonight. He beat big guys, Canelo, but he's done a lot better at light heavyweight. And I've got to ask you, do you think he has a chance of beating the younger Buatsi?
Nah, I think Buatsi outboxes him and wins the decision. I really think the problem with Caleb Smith was, if you look in the Beterbiev fight, how it was, he's not really good on the back foot.
Yeah, Beterbiev was walking him down. That's for sure.
And like with the angles, I really think that he has a tough time fighting guys that gives angles out. And I think Buatsi does it really good. And
yeah, I see Joshua Buatsi just a step below Dimitri Bivol as terms of his movability and just being able to do angles and cut off the ring, like you said. I think Joshua Buatsi wins this one handily. He's a negative 205 favorite. I think Caleb Smith is kind of starting to slide on the back end of his career. But these are two big UK names in the light heavyweight division. Joshua Buatsi, one of the earlier fights. I think that's all the fights. Both of you and I agree on the main event. Dimitri Bivol winning that fight. Virgil Ortiz versus Israel Madrimov. We are in disagreement. We agree on Hamza Shiraz. Shakur Stevenson. He wins this fight by decision. We agree on that?
Yep.
Okay. Big Bang Zhang, we disagree on that one.
Yeah.
And we disagreed on the other heavyweight match.
McCauley and Parker.
Right. Okay. I think that's all of them. Let's get to some quick boxing news, guys. I appreciate everybody that's still in here. Clarissa Shields, women's GOAT, as she likes to describe herself. Well, Drew, it turns out she is being suspended. There was accusations just a couple of weeks ago, or you brought up some news on the show. She is being suspended in the state of Michigan, but when you're suspended by a commission, all the other commissions in the U.S. have to go along with that suspension. She has a trial date, and it is over ganja. It's over the good old, it's over the kush, Drew. Women's boxing champion Clarissa Shields suspended in Michigan for marijuana. And she's going to be having a hearing to restore, or how long she's going to be busted for it. Keyshawn Davis been busted for weed recently. Who else has? It's been she's not the only person in that company, and I think it's time unanimously that all boxing commissions across the U.S. just come out and say it in agreement that marijuana is not a performance enhancing drug and it shouldn't be on the list. In fact, I think that if it's legal in the state you are participating in, like if you're fighting in Nevada, if you're fighting in California, if you're fighting in New York, and you can use weed recreationally, then it shouldn't even be a fucking problem. I mean, come on.
Well, the other news is she's confirming she is suing the fat ass gravy train Rick Glazer.
And what's that for?
For saying on Twitter that rumor going around that she's been busted for PED. That she failed a drug test for PED. So because of that fat ass doing negative shit, that MAGA piece of shit, he's getting a taste of his own medicine. He's getting sued. So I'm fucking right. That fucking fat ass
okay.
MAGA piece of shit.
So is it defamation of character or something like that? Slander?
Yeah, you can say it. Yeah, slander.
All right. Well, she deserves to defend herself, and he'll have his day in court. In my opinion, it's time to stop with the marijuana as a PED, guys. I mean, it's clearly not. And in fact, it has a lot of purposes where you can use dangerous painkillers, Other news really quickly, guys. Apparently, we talked about it on Monday, but Arnold Barboza Jr., who just won that interim title in the UK, upsetting Catterall. It's a potential this fight is really going to happen in my hometown of San Francisco. Teofimo Lopez, man, come on. As they say in the sport, don't duck it. Don't duck this fight, man.
You're a fucking boss.
Just fight Barboza already. He's your mandatory. In Alcatraz, shit, that fight's going to sell no matter what. He should be lucky that they're both going to get an opportunity to fight there. Just do it. Just do it. What do you have to lose? Shout out to everybody that's still in here in the chat. Let me know who you guys think is going to be if you have a big upset that you think is going to happen this weekend, put it in the chat of the 7 fights we just talked about. Riyadh season, the last crescendo starts at, I think, 8 a.m. on the West Coast. If you're on the West Coast, it could start as early as 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. We talked about all the big meals. Obviously, Floyd Schofield, people thought he was faking the funk, but it turns out he's actually sick, and Daniel Dubois is sick. This is some really interesting news, Drew. If you like tournaments, if you like leagues, the WBC announces a boxing Grand Prix that is going to be in association with Turki Al-Sheikh. This is going to be tournaments for up-and-coming prospects / contenders to make their names in the sport. And I love this shit. It reminds me of the Super Six, except, none of these guys are going to be champions, but they're going to be tournament styles. I think they're going to start 6 rounds. And then as they go on in the tournament, 6, 8, and I believe 10. I love it. I love tournaments. If you love a boxing tournament, let me know. We got a question in the chat. Fonzie says, I was wondering you guys' opinion on why they won't strip Loma and Muratoya could box for the IBF and not the interim IBF. Drew, what is going on with the career of Loma's?
Because Loma hasn't been. Here's the thing. In order for you to get stripped of a title or discuss being stripped of a title, every section body is different, but you have to have been inactive for 18 months, for almost 18 months to have you crashing a beat by getting stripped. Manny Pacquiao was eventually put in champion recess after 18 months of inactivity in the IBF, in the WBA. I think Loma has to. If Loma doesn't fight, he hasn't been a year yet. So you have to look at it. 12. I think a year and a half to almost 2 years, they're gonna have to question to see if Loma's gonna fight or not. But it's safe to say if Loma doesn't fight by September or October, then the question comes in: do you strip? Is Loma getting stripped? But as of right now, it's not going to come up because it's not even a year yet, and rumors were going around that they want to see what's going on with the back injury, see if he's going to continue pursuing his career or not, before they even attempt to talk about stripping him.
There you have it. There you have it, guys. All right, again, let's run through this card really quickly. Shakur Stevenson versus Josh Padley. Estimated fight time, I got it here, is 12:35 p.m. If you want to take a nap in between these fights, that might be the one. Parker versus Bacoli. You do not want to miss this fight. A big slugger in Martin Bacoli. 1:40 p.m. start time in Los Angeles. Let's see. I got other start times here. Zalil Zhang versus Agit Kabayel, approximately 9:40 a.m. if you're in Los Angeles. Joshua Buatsi, that fight is at 8:45 a.m. And I'm presuming they'll probably get to the main event around 1 or 2 o'clock in Los Angeles. A full day boxing pay-per-view. What's the price on that? Do you know? $24.99 or something? 24. It's going to be cheap, guys. Shout out to Wally Coyote. He says Canada wins. I'm guessing you're thinking Beterbiev because Beterbiev makes his home in Canada. Also, this fight is coming up, and I've reached out. We'll see if we're going to get him on the show before. Speaking of Canada, Lucas Body was on the Boxing Voice promoting his fight. We're going to see if we can get him. Lucas Body fights in Toronto March 7th in just a few weeks, headlining a MVP, Most Valuable Promotions card. Jake Paul, signed fighter. Something very interesting about Lucas Body, Drew. He was a replacement for the H2O, the guy who knocked out H2O. Silva is his name. Floyd Schofield was supposed to fight him. And Floyd Schofield, according to reports, pulled out of that fight. And Lucas was brought in at the last minute and knocked him out impressively. I'm wondering if Lucas Body continues on this run, if Lucas Body might get a crack at Floyd Schofield. Two top prospects / contenders in the lightweight division. That would definitely be interesting. Boogie616, he says Shakur stops Padley. That would be good. That's a good thing. Shakur needs a stoppage, period. And if his hands can take it, I mean, that would be good for his career. My question is, how healthy are those hands? If you've seen it, the knuckles, they don't look like he can really put that much force into punching somebody before he gets a hand injury. But he really could use a stoppage. And then maybe he might attract a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. Drew, before we get off, Gervonta Tank Davis, speaking to him, it's coming out that he's interested in fighting Devin Haney before the end of his career. He says that is going to happen. SB, I appreciate you so much. We're wrapping up the show. Thank you so much. We'll be back on Monday. Might even be back Saturday after the main event ends. Your thoughts on that? That, Tank Davis wants to take on pillow-fisted Devin Haney after Garcia's knocked him out?
Probably because he knows he can't hurt him. And he can clearly probably outbox him. So it's a real wonderful fight for Tank.
Just take the fight, Tank. Just make it happen. I mean, come on. We all know that we're gonna beat him. Oh, Rhonda, she says, I sent you a super chat. Thank you so much, Rhonda. I appreciate it. I definitely missed it. I used streaming software, and so sometimes it probably didn't show up on my end because I'm not looking at the YouTube screen. But I thank you so much, and I appreciate everybody that's joined us tonight. Gonna wrap it up, guys. I appreciate you. My voice is kind of starting to give out. Enjoy all the festivities Saturday. I might come on after Drew, after the main event. If you want to come on for a little bit, 5, 10, 20 minutes post-fight and give our analysis, that would be fun. I think I'll be much better by then. And catch us again on Monday night on the Shoe Shine at 7:45 p.m. Drew, anything else? Nope. All right, man. Peace out, everybody. Peace.